Welcome to TableTalk Friday, your weekly dose of D&D banter between three men in a bedroom. If you like their style, come back every Friday for another upload. Now, back to the boys.
And I did put a pledge down for that cool table.
No, you really did.
Yeah, I really did. Because
so
it's a big table. Now, first of all, guys, we are not sponsored by Project Ironside, but there's a Kickstarter that's been up this past week that I got an ad for on Instagram. I'm pretty sure that's how most people have found this thing, because they bounced up in supporters by like over 1,000 yesterday whenever I backed it. So I was taking a look at it, and they have so many freaking options. First of all, their goal was only $50,000 for this table, and they've hit almost $4 million because it's just such a cool idea. So for those of you listeners at home who haven't seen it yet, there's this really cool table on Kickstarter called Project Ironside, and it's like a modular gaming table, and it only runs you a base of $399. This campaign is going on for 33 more days, I believe, as of recording time. So, but by the time this episode comes out, it will be like 20 more days.
You've got no time. You got to get it now.
So, looking at it, it's a 3x5 table. It's got cup holders on the side. I mean, come on. It's what's the word for like when it's down a little bit? Like it's
Indented.
elevated. Yeah, it's indented down to where like you can put down a full playing mat. I added on a playable like play mat that's space themed, just because I was like, they had three in there. They had an ocean one. An ocean one on the other side was like a beach or something like that. Then they had like a grasslands one, and the other side was something else. And then they had one that's like the surface of Mars, and the other side's like galaxies. And I was like, well, we're gonna do Spelljammer stuff. If I can have a galaxy table, that's lit. It was too expensive to do all of them. I was like, oh, that's a lot of money.
Yeah.
So I backed for the table, and I added that on, and I almost added on. They had these like little wood topper things to make it a solid table. But the cool part is they would give you 16 metal legs you can put on the bottom, and you can have a ton of different size side tables. So like using the little wood toppers, say if we wanted to have like 3 different levels that combat's going on at one time, they're like risers. And then you can also have it tall enough to where you can put it beside like you as like a little DM table.
Now you sent this over to us, but I didn't look that much into it. So the wood toppers are or not included?
The wood toppers are not included in the base $399. The $399 is just the table, and you can take that table and like split it in half and like make it either long or big.
Gotcha.
Then they have like extenders to make it 3x7 instead of 3x5. We only need the 3x5. Like our needs are just for D&D, and nothing we have is longer than 3 feet by 5 feet.
Yeah, absolutely not.
So yeah, I was looking at it. I was like, okay, I'm gonna put a pledge down. If I decide against it, I can cancel it by like mid-October, and it won't be delivered till July 2023 though, because of the timing of when I backed it. So it'll probably be quite some time before I'm able to get my hands on this table. I had to do it now though, because it said they only had a certain amount left of these base tables for the Kickstarter at least. I think it said they only had like 15 or 20 left out of like 4,000 they were doing.
That's how they get you.
And I was like, oh, beans. Well, I don't want to miss out on my table because I kind of want this thing. So I backed it. We'll see if I decide to go back on it. But this will be so cool for the room we're making, or that I'm making, so then that we can all use.
I think the real question is, because this is the second time this year you've backed something kind of big, right? Because you also backed the full-size, foot-long Tarrasque mini? We'll call it a mini. Now, the question is, will the Tarrasque fit on the table, Seth?
Yeah.
Yeah, of course it will.
It's a 3 foot by 5 foot table. It's a 1 foot mini.
But it would have been cool if it was so
1
much
foot
bigger.
mini, though. That's so friggin' huge.
Yeah, it's a 1 foot Tarrasque. It's big.
Yeah.
But it could be bigger. If it fit the whole table, think about it.
Could you imagine if it had 2 feet? Other foot not included.
So stupid.
Yeah. I actually love the idea of a 3D printed Tarrasque, but designed in a way that it's actually terrain, and the mountain that you're on becomes a Tarrasque, like it unfolds or something or opens up.
That'd be cool.
That would be really sick. I don't know how they would do it. But
Well, I mean, you should get an engineer to make it your Kickstarter.
yeah, I'm a major engineer.
This week, because I told you guys I've been really into D&D lately. I've been really into looking at third-party stuff just because I feel like a lot of the writing in these third-party modules and stuff I've been reading has been better than a lot of official material. And so I've just been looking at it, and there is so many cool Kickstarters for D&D stuff, like official 5e supplements. Not official, but you know what I mean, like stuff that's made for 5e. They have really cool like space settings. They have really cool entire like samurai settings. There's one that was like it's called Way of the Kensei or something like that. Or
I've seen ads for that.
Yeah, I saw it on Kickstarter when I was just scrolling through earlier, and I was like, that's cool. It's a whole 5e setting based on like ancient Japanese culture. That's awesome. So there's all of these really cool things to back on there, and I was like, man, I could go in here and like do 5 of these for like $30 each and end up with a bunch of extra books. So what I'm saying is I'm going to end up with enough third-party supplements soon that I'm going to need to start a whole other podcast talking about third-party supplements.
Supplement Saturdays. People just think it's a pharmaceutical kind of thing.
Oh, yeah.
Well, we'll throw that in there too.
I gotta say I'm stoked to use more supplements just because when I think of supplements, I think of the one with the cool brass dragon and storm kings and a special man that needs to drink water all the time. I don't want to give too many spoilers. I'm not sure how spoilery it is because it's a very, very good supplement. But I'm excited to see what other people are thinking, what other people could creatively come up with that's not just Wizards of the Coast, you know?
Well, honestly, it's making me really want to make something. Like, I've been reading all this stuff, and I'm like, I could write something like this and then like take all of the stuff that I've done already for you guys and put it into a book and be like, oh yeah, no, I'm just going to take this and probably not like a fantasy setting, but put a bunch of one-shots out in a book and be like, okay, here's a bunch of extra one-shots for 5e. Have fun with it.
Yeah, well, that's the D&D content creator hustle that we haven't tapped into yet. But like all these people who have their podcasts and their Instagrams and their TikToks talking about D&D, they all have a book.
I just got a great idea. Here's what we should do. We should have like a 10-part series, right? On this podcast, on this show, where we spitball one-shot ideas. We just spitball them like no other. And we have a great time doing it. We come up with 10 really cool one-shots. We already have the one that I did for that convention that I play tested and was fun.
Yeah.
Oh, the big old tree and the green dragon?
Yeah.
Oh, that was
so
sick.
we write that one out, and then we get 10 others. We put it in a book. Boom. We sell it. And, we start up a Kickstarter, we make a funny trailer, and then make shit tons of money.
It's Tales from the TableTalk Friday
portal
podcast. Journeys to the Radiant Tabletop Friday.
I think Tales from
podcast.
Friday Night is a great. Tales from Friday Night is a great. That should be our podcast name. What are we doing here?
Geez.
What are we doing? Tales from Friday Night. That's a good one.
Time to rebrand, really boys. Time to rebrand.
And welcome back to Tales from Friday Night. My name is Seth Pittman. I'm here joined by my two best friends of the world, Andrew Romano and that other guy,
Zachary Carvon. Hello, it's me.
Yeah, exactly.
I have glasses. I just pushed them up.
They didn't know that. They couldn't hear my glasses through the speakers. Now they know too much about me.
Oh, beans.
With all this new stuff coming out as far as the software goes for D&D Beyond and One D&D, I wonder if they're going to have more room available for different kinds of creators to put one-offs online.
No.
I'm not sure if that's a thing that they could do or.
So they already have some homebrew stuff on there. On D&D Beyond that like you can buy and purchase, but I doubt they'll let I doubt they'll have their own just bank of stuff. Like that's why we have DM's Guild and everything like that. And honestly, I'm really getting into this buying physical books game just because I'm having so much fun with it. Walking around with all my fancy third-party books. I can't wait to break open these Kobold Press monster manuals just because, and they're the pocket-sized ones, so they're they're pocket-sized monster manuals. So all three of them together, I think, was like $50.
How thick must that be?
Yeah, I don't know. I'll send you guys pictures later. But it was all three of them came in one pack, and I'm sure it's like gonna be huge, but they're pocket sized, so I can just break it out and be like, okay, I got this monster right here.
Just DM on the go.
I mean, I figured that was more cost effective and also cool as hell that you can have a whole monster manual in that little thing. But just like you were talking about earlier, I wonder how, because you were saying how, reading through their stuff, they have a lot of stuff. I was reading through their world book as well, which it was only like $16 or $17 for the World Book PDF, and I was like, I'll just buy that because they didn't have any physical copies of it available. Reading through that was so much information because they give you every single like region of the world. While in on Toril, we're in Forgotten Realms, we're only playing in one small region of Toril, and that's where we're pretty much experience all of these crazy adventures. And yeah, no, they give you every single section of this massive universe that they've created, and I'm like, that's really cool. I only need to read like these 20 pages in order to run a campaign. And then, over the course of a lifetime, maybe I could get to the rest.
Yeah, and that's something that I do take issue with in Forgotten Realms is like, as a setting, it's cool, everything that they have, but you're on a whole ass planet and pretty much all of the, official content, at least that we have for 5e, is all centered on just the Sword Coast.
Yeah. Yeah, I kind of hate that because you can't tell me there's a whole planet and all of these things going on, and they're only happening in this one section.
But I will say, to that credit, I think it does help to sort of localize your campaign, just to include familiar areas, right? So like you'll go into Waterdeep Dragon Heist, and you'll meet all the characters in the Yawning Portal, and then you'll go into Storm King's Thunder, and lo and behold, we got to stop by Waterdeep, and you have that shared memory of like these distinct locations. It makes sort of a very iconic D&D setting, which I appreciate, as opposed to if you spread everything out, yeah, you could still have like these iconic locales, but you're not going to be able to hit them all in a single campaign without like a teleport spell.
Well, what I really like I hate to bring up the number one D&D podcast in the world once again, D&D show, but Critical Role does it so well because he has his entire world that he's built out. Talking about Matt Mercer, has his entire world that he's built out, and in the campaign they focus on a section. So like in the last campaign 2, they were in Wildmount. I don't remember where they were in the first one.
Tal'Dorei, I think it was.
Tal'Dorei, yeah, I think it was Tal'Dorei. Mm-hmm. And then in this third one, they're in another section of the world, another one that I can't remember the name of. And then throughout the campaign, they'll eventually get back to where they were. They explore a new section, towns that none of the audience has heard of, meeting people that no one has met before. And then, as time goes on and they get more powerful and they have more, people know them more. Okay, now we need to go to Tal'Dorei for something. We need to go to Wildmount for something, which is really cool. And I would love to do that to where like I'm not starting every campaign in Waterdeep, or I'm not saying, okay, we know that there's Waterdeep, Neverwinter, Baldur's Gate, all of Icewind Dale. There's these 4 locations, and you can start from one of them because that's what we know. Because it is getting to the point where, and I don't think it's a bad thing because I think we're all really into it. But there's a lot of time where everybody feels like, well, when a one-off comes up, well, how do I relate this character to our last campaign? I'm like, no, just make a new character. We don't have to have all characters be, tied in.
Right, and it does make the world feel a lot smaller.
Right.
And it really isn't. Like, the Sword Coast is a vast swath of land to have to, travel across on foot. It'll take you a long time. But when we keep coming back to the same place over and over, it almost feels like, well, why are we even traveling? We know what's there. Let's just get there already.
Right. Like after you know that there's a teleportation circle in Moongleam Tower, why not use that network all the time, right?
Right. Yeah. I mean, we haven't done this, but it would be smart for us to just sort of metagame it and say, oh, well, let's, for no particular reason, I think we should stop by Everland really quick. And, there's a tower here. I wonder what's there.
Just explore the entirety of Moongleam Tower.
Yeah. Well, and then we walk in and we meet someone, right? That we've never met before, and we say, "Oh, are you a part of any secret organizations that we should know about that might have access to a teleportation circle?" Why? As a matter of fact, you are? Oh, that's fantastic. Well, we'd like to use your teleportation network.
Zach, that wouldn't be very cool of you. Welcome to Table Talk Friday. My name is Seth Pittman, and I'm joined by my 2 best friends in the world, Andrew Romano and Zachary Carvon. How are you boys doing today?
I'm feeling about as cool as the rule of cool. Just sitting back, enjoying myself, feet up, feeling quality.
I'd love to like escalate this to even a less elegant implanting of our topic today, but I just can't think of one. So I'm feeling fine, and I'm ready to talk about the rule of cool, which is our topic of discussion today on Table Talk Friday.
Right. So if you don't know what the rule of cool is, it is basically not everything is written down in the book, right? Not everything is spelled out for you in a paragraph or more or less in your textbook-sized player's handbook. Sometimes players come up with crazy ideas and they really want to do them, and they say, DM, can I do this? In, my thought process always, and I think it goes for a lot of DMs, is it badass? Because if it's badass, it's gonna happen. Because we get into the game, and if you ask me if something can happen and it's not spelled out and it's not adding to the game at all, a lot of times I'm like, well, there's this alternative you can do. But if someone is like, I'm trying to think of an example lately of something really cool that someone has done that I've been like, yeah, you know what? Let's go for it.
I can't think of one recently. I think we're just too cool for the rule of cool, maybe.
Well, I think that they become part of normal play, where someone says, is that possible? I'm like, yeah, go for it. Roll a D20.
Do you think you hit a certain point where the rule of cool doesn't exist because you're just too cool of a party, perhaps? Do you think maybe that's why we can't think of one recently?
Well, I can think of that one time that Newth, I believe we were fighting a chain devil, or it wasn't the chain devil because he would have been immune to fire, but we were fighting this powerful foe over like this pit of lava, and he said, I would like to take this guy and dunk him in the lava. Now, realistically speaking, should he have been able to do this and hold him down there? Probably not without burning his fucking hands off. But you said, yeah, I'll allow that, and I will have it kill him almost instantly.
Yeah, it was fun.
Yeah, exactly. So I think the rule of cool is it may not be as discussed now, but especially when we were getting into the hobby, it was sort of like either you're the kind of table that really loves the rule of cool, and you say, yeah, I think everything should, fly as long as it's cool, or you're, on the other side who almost vehemently hates this idea because it takes away the agency of the DM to say no, right? Because sometimes players will sort of get entitled with this idea and say, well, why can't I do this thing? And then it becomes an argument. So I think we definitely lean more towards the idea of, well, as long as there's not a rule that explicitly says you can't do that, and as long as it's not ruining the game for anyone in any way, then we'll usually lean on the side of, okay, well, let's make this make sense and you can do it.
Which I think is kind of an interesting point to bring up, because it's called the rule of cool, but it's really not a rule at all.
That's true.
It really isn't, because rule, like you said, kind of takes away from the DM's power. It takes away from the DM's ability to maybe have fun, to make their own choices, to run their own game, because they're having fun too, right? The rule of cool is just a variant option that you could play with. If you as a player want to do something that maybe is a little bit outside of the guidelines, maybe it's off the beaten path, you ask your DM, can I do this? It's really a suggestion more than anything.
Right, and this really isn't written down anywhere, like in the DMG or any of the the current books for 5e. I don't know, maybe with 1D&D they'll write it down somewhere. But there's nothing that says that you are beholden to the rule of cool. But I think in general it's a helpful guideline that can sort of lead you towards more interesting choices. Again, I wouldn't ever let a player's desire to do something cool undermine the logic that we've built up for the game. If this is a fairly realistic, gritty, let's say post-apocalyptic setting, well, no, I'm not going to let my player develop this theorem to create infinite health potions if that's going to suck all of the weight out of the game. No, of course not. But if there's, somewhere that I can meet them halfway and say, oh, well, if you spend enough time on this and, you put enough effort into it, then maybe your artificer, you're able to find the resources to, create a health potion every, couple of days or something. But it's all about just meeting the expectation set by the game that you're playing.
Yeah, I mean, I'd have to agree that overall, the rule of cool, I feel like as long as I think it's cool, I kind of want it to happen, as long as, the book doesn't say it can't. And overall, a lot of times we don't run into anything that's, game breaking anyways, nothing that no one's ever asking to do something that they realistically couldn't do most times for us. So we don't run into it too often. And I feel like it's mostly a problem at lower level play anyways. When you get higher level, you have plenty of cool stuff you can do. So it's not really a big deal. What matters then is how well you flavor it. When you're lower level, it's when, okay, can the cool thing happen?
Right. I mean, there's a common example that I think of with like a druid who, turns into a giant eagle. And they want to carry the whole party with them, X amount of distance. Well, maybe it's not exactly realistic for the druid to be able to, hold that weight, of everyone. They're only a large creature. But maybe like, in a specific dire situation where, if they don't escape in this exact moment, they risk a TPK. Then we can...
The Cloud Giant's castle is about to come crashing down. You have to get off immediately.
Yeah, we can say, okay, you muster all your strength together. We're going to make a combined ability check for everyone to try and do this. And, we'll push back against what the rules say you probably shouldn't be able to do, and we'll let you roll for it anyway.
Yeah.
Which that's the other situation that the rule of cool comes up in all the time is, well, can I roll for this and get a nat 20? For it to happen,
right?
Like, usually my answer is yes, but only if it's within the realm of some possibility.
Yeah, if there is a 5% chance that this could possibly happen, then yes, let's do it.
I think it's got to be cool. Obviously, is the first factor, right? We've dictated that. The second factor, I feel like it can't break the game, which we've touched on. It can't be too strong. It can't be overpowering, right? And number 3 for me is it can't make anybody else at the table feel less powerful. It can't make them feel less heroic in some sense, Don't like invalidate someone else's ability per se. So,
DM, he just sucked someone's soul. Can I do it too? Like borrowing his power? Like That would be really cool if we like shared it. And I'm like, no.
Well, that's sort of Sean's thing. You can't do Sean's thing.
That's kind of Sean's thing. You're kind of being a Patrick right now.
Right. Or even you're in a situation where maybe the rogue has, intentionally, like they've got a little lockbox, they've locked it up. There's something that they want to keep away from the rest of the party in there. But your character, they've got slippery fingers and, I don't have proficiency with thieves' tools, but can I like make a sleight of hand check to like steal them from the rogue and then try and lockpick or, pick their little box? Well, is that cool? No. I guess that falls. This isn't the rule of cool because that's a shitty thing to do. But, your point stands. If there's, something that someone else in the party is perfectly capable of doing, but you just want to do it because, then no, that's...
Yeah.
I guess, I think this whole scenario is probably a little antithetical. Jeez, that's a hard word to say fast. To the rule of cool, because it's not cool when you do that.
Now that we're talking about it, my brain started going. I can't think of a really cool rule of cool moment that happened in one of my games. A long time ago, a few of my players were fighting something that had some type of a gaze weapon, something along the lines of a bodak or a beholder or certain spirits, things like that. And so it was looking at everybody and doing psychic or necrotic damage to everybody around. And so they were trying to close their eyes so they wouldn't lock eyes with it, sort of like a Gorgon, a Medusa sort of a vibe. But one of the players at the table thought to grapple the creature and force its gaze away from the party, which I thought was really cool. That's not how grappling works. I don't think you really get to dictate where the people are per se with the grapple, but I thought that was really sick. It was really creative and it was neat and it saved everybody at the fight.
Yeah, I like that. And that is possible with grappling, I would say, being able to turn a creature around or move it slightly. I mean, I think in the new grappling rules that they had in the 1D&D stuff, it's a little more, written out how it works.
Right. I'd say in either scenario, though, it's not specified that you get to like dictate the creature's positioning like within their space. You can move them, X amount of spaces, but it does make sense if you're overpowering this person that you would be able to, move them to however which way you want them.
Right.
So I think that's a great example of the rule of cool.
Yeah.
Coming up with creative solutions to your problems when they're not, fully written out in the book. Like, for example, and this is something that I like to do in my games is messing with the terrain in combat. So like, I won't do it all the time, but like if there's a room with a chandelier in it, I'm really wanting someone to do something with that chandelier, and it's definitely going to work, even if it doesn't seem like there's nothing written anywhere about falling chandelier rules.
Like AC 10, 5 hit points, it'll fall.
Yeah. There's no rules about swinging from a chandelier giving you advantage on your hit on the descent. But if you're a player who's gonna try and pull that shit, I'm gonna reward it because it's cool.
Yeah, no, I think that's exactly the point. Is anytime I think the rule of cool comes up when the party is being creative, which is super fun. Or even so, sometimes a party member will make a really cool argument against an NPC or something like that. And it's like, sometimes it's written in the book. If you read it through a lot of the modules, there are characters that are written in there that it's like, this person will never like change their mind about this, or like this person, you cannot sway this person. It's impossible. And when those things come up, but the party members make a really good argument, sometimes I cave the NPC. I'm like, yeah, no, they cave. That was a good argument. Because I kid you not, sometimes Patrick will sit there and talk for 5 minutes, and I'm like, he's making a lot of good points right now. What
do I do?
Roll persuasion, please, with triple advantage. And you roll over 20, and I'm like, yes, my liege. I'm crying.
I know we goof on Broccoli Eric Patrick quite a bit here, specifically with his magical abilities as his choice of spells. But sometimes he rants some good stuff. Like, he just oozes some good persuasion checks, or even just makes really solid points to some of these NPCs.
And his one-off characters are always such good friends with the villains. Like, have you noticed that every time he has, like, a new character, like, you guys will go to talk to someone, and he just becomes their best friend quickly? Like, the Lich. He just made best friends with the Lich in, like, 5 seconds. I mean, then, obviously, when Varys went ahead and befriended the Van Thamper family...
Yeah.
He walks in and is like, let's just be friends instead.
I am not going to sit here and slander, talk shit on my boy Patrick, but that was the dumbest shit. We did this it wasn't a one-off, it was a whole arc of our campaign. It was like, intermittent between the two arcs.
Was it 3 sessions, right?
Yeah, we had like a whole 3-session thing built out where his whole point was to go in, kill the bad guys, and take their shit. It was a terrible idea. We knew it was going to fail. But we get to the moment of no return. We've broken in. We've we've started fighting some of the guards, and then they all rush in, and we realize, oh shit, we're outnumbered. I mean, imagine that, right? And he caves. He says, you know what? I surrender. Literally. I will work for you for nothing. Please spare me my life. It was the dumbest shit, but
we quite literally would have ended the arc that time, though. I mean, I think it was stupid too. It was so funny. But we ended the arc that time, and we would have ended it with him losing all his hit points, which would have been like, okay, now we'll find out what happens next time, Because
could you imagine?
He was up against like an assassin, and then the
there was a cook. He had like butcher knives and
stuff.
Oh
yeah. He was quite literally like my chef assassin is what I called him. And then he was assassin stat block and everything. And then we had the head Van Thamper lady, whose name I forgot already. Was it after writing it?
Charlene?
Oh, it was Charlene. Charlene Van Thamper. She was pretty strong. Pretty strong caster too, I believe. And there was the one other guy there as well, and I was like, oh yeah, these guys will just mess Varys up real quick.
Well, and it wasn't only that. I'm pretty sure we rushed there with like less than all of our shit, because you put the pressure on us after we broke out of the Tomb of Horrors, which is the thing that we just did before this. We were trapped in the tomb. We broke out. We fought our captors, and then everyone was on high alert because they were on the side of the Van Tamper. So we rush over there, half cocked. We run into a room full of very powerful enemies, and then like a bunch of lower powered enemies, but still enough to like action economy is a real thing. Like we had some very I think we were level 12. Like we had some very strong characters, and we knew that we were fucked.
Anyways, as far as the rule of cool goes, I think this can apply heavily to a lot of DMs when they're thinking up scenarios in their head. Like, sometimes I will not have planned for something whenever a session is going along, and some actions of the players will lead to me coming up with another idea, and as opposed to being like, no, this isn't what I planned for, like, I'm going to either redirect this so that it still ends the way I want it to, or I'm going to, let the players do their thing and then we'll get back on track. A lot of times I let that new idea spark and I just flow along with it. So the new idea comes up and I'm like, fuck everything else I was thinking before the session started. We're doing this now. And I'll have, 2 pages of notes, all kinds of stuff ready. And I go, well, and I throw my phone to the side and I'm like, okay, let's do this. And that new idea is kind of what brings about some of the best sessions we've ever had. So I would say for all of the DMs that are listening out there, the rule of cool is not just, hey, my player wants to do something either dumb, risky, or really, really cool. Should I let them do it? It's not written in the rules that they're allowed to. Should I let them do it? I feel like the general consensus among most people, I wouldn't say everybody, some people are very by the book, but among most people is, yeah, just go for it. It'll be fun. But a lot of people are afraid to take those jumps with their narrative. Like, are afraid to just be like, oh, we cannot go down this road. No, just go down the road. See what happens. It's going to be hilarious and fun.
Well, yeah, and I think again, just make sure that it, it doesn't lead to an unsatisfying conclusion. Like, okay, fair enough. If the player, is fighting an iron golem and they say, oh, well, I'm going to cast like a 6th level dispel magic to destroy this creature. If that's the only monster you prepped for the day, and we all know iron golems, I believe they're immune to a large number of spells. I'm going to say, no, that's probably not going to work. But say we've been fighting this iron golem for X amount of turns, and, you've been doing a lot of damage to it.
Maybe you can see some kind of core that's on the inside, and you can aim the spell magic at that.
Yeah, exactly. I'm a lot more lenient with these sorts of, ass pulley sort of plays when it's the party on their back foot. If as a DM, I see everyone's got all their resources, we're getting close to a long rest, and they're trying to pull some shit that they shouldn't be able to pull, then I might say, well, you can try. And then we'll go from there. But sometimes players need that moment of, oh, I thought of a really good idea and it worked. Like that one time we were fighting the illusory dragon.
Right.
I don't think you expected a dispel magic to destroy that thing entirely, but I pulled it out of my back pocket and you said, I guess that works.
Well, no, I mean, I actually did have it written that a dispel magic would be effective. It just depending on the age of the dragon, depending on which level. So I actually had written that out beforehand. Was like, oh, they're not meant to fight an adult red dragon here.
Oh, yeah.
But that would have been a cool moment if I hadn't already planned for that, because I kind of wanted you to do it. So I described it in a way that was like, this is magical and can be killed with magic.
Well, bad example, but if you're a DM and you've created a or maybe it's a shadow dragon,
animated armor,
or anything really. It really depends on the circumstances whether or not you want to let some of that stuff slide, because with spells especially, there's a lot of odd ways to sort of fudge the rules and try and get away with shit. Like Featherfall, for example, you could say you're not really supposed to be able to control your descent when you cast Featherfall. But what if I really want to be a Mary Poppins and pull out my umbrella and I cast Featherfall and I use it to direct my descent? I feel like that's a really cute idea, and I probably let it happen.
Yeah.
Maybe cuteness plays into the rule of cool. If it's pretty cute, I might let you do it.
Yeah.
We'll have to see. But going off your point, Zach, I feel like a lot of these really cool moments do come when the players are on their last foot, which when you're stronger, when you're higher level, we discussed that you can already do so many cool things. There's lots of spells you can do, lots of cool abilities. But I feel like the best rule of cool moments are when you're a low-level player. It's like 1 to 5, maybe even 1 to 3, where you pull some bullshit out of your pocket and you do some crazy cool thing because you have so few resources. You feel so cool if you could do a lot with so little. To me, those are the better moments. So I wonder if it is harder to pull off the rule of cool at higher levels, or if it's easier just because you have more to give, you have more risk, because there's so many more things you could do, I don't know.
Anybody got any final thoughts on the rule of cool?
If you're a DM out there and you've been listening, thank you for listening.
Patreon.com/TableTalk Friday.
Yes, patreon.com/TableTalk Friday. Shameless plug. If you're a DM who's been listening patiently and you say, boys, I love the sound of your voices, but I disagree with everything you're saying. I think the rule of cool is a blight on my table. My players are always trying to get away with shit. You're valid. I hear you. But maybe think of ways to let it permeate your mind. Maybe you're not letting players get away with all the dumb shit, but there's a time and a place for everything, right? And ultimately, the moments that the players are going to remember the most are the ones where they felt like they really overcame something. And there's no better way to do that than coming up with some harebrained scheme and seeing it to fruition. So it's definitely not an all-the-time thing to just let your players do whatever they think of. But those are going to be some of your best memories. And when you're thinking back about, that session that I had was so great, that time that I put a bag of holding inside another bag of holding and it sucked the beholder away to the astral plane, like, that's a great idea. The way that we pulled it off, there were tons of ways that Seth could have said, well, no, it probably doesn't work that way, and you actually fail. But
the mystique behind the way it worked, though, was so fun.
Yeah, exactly. So allow yourselves to, you don't always have to say yes, but find the times where it is appropriate to.
I love being level 20. I love having all crazy cool abilities and just being absolutely all powerful. But you, as well as everyone else at the table, just wants to have fun. So give something a try. If your players are willing to sacrifice a little bit, to put a little risk involved, do something a little different, something creative, give it a go. See what happens. And if you're not for it, then, play a wizard, you nerd.
Thank you so much for joining us on this episode of Table Talk Friday, where we talked about the rule of cool. For more on the rule of cool, a bunch of other stuff, whatever we're going to say in the post show in like 10 minutes from now, you can find us on patreon.com/TableTalk Friday, where you can subscribe at many different levels for many different benefits, including listening to the post show we are about to record. If you'd like to reach out to us and tell us why you hate the rule of cool, why you don't want it to ever exist, and why this is your least favorite episode of Table Talk Friday, you can email us at tabletalkfriday@gmail.com, you motherfucker, and argue with me, and we'll argue about it next week and the week after and the week after that. Anyways, you can find us at tabletalkfriday@gmail.com. Other than that, you can find our TikToks on tiktok.com/tabletalk, or at TableTalk Friday on TikTok, at TableTalk Friday on YouTube, and at TableTalk Friday on Twitter. And with that, will the coolest Eric take me out?
I sure will, baby. I'll take you out. I'll take you out to the soda shop, and we'll go in my 1950s car with my leather jacket and my slicked back pompadour. Yeah, that's right, baby. I'm taking you out. Have a good night.